6 things you never sacrifice for anyone. Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about something that's both personal and universal, our non-negotiables. These are the pieces of us that we must protect fiercely, the things we should never compromise, no matter the pressure, the persuasion, or the promises made to us. Because when we give these away, we lose more than we bargain for, we lose ourselves. Each of us has our unique journey, but there are 6 pillars that I believe form the foundation of an authentic, fulfilled life. These are the things you should never, ever sacrifice for anyone, no matter how much you care for them or want to make them happy. And your boundaries. These boundaries are the rules we set for how others can treat us and what we will accept. They are not walls, they are the fences that protect our peace. Never sacrifice your boundaries for the sake of making someone else comfortable. Remember, saying no to others often means saying yes to yourself. Or your values. Your values are your moral compass. They guide you through every decision, even when the path is unclear. Don't let anyone convince you to betray what you believe in, because once you do, you'll find yourself lost in a sea of regret. Stay true to what matters most to you. Your self-worth. You are enough just as you are. Never let anyone's words, actions, or opinions diminish your sense of worth. People who truly love and respect you will never ask you to question your own value. Your dreams. Your dreams are the whispers of your soul. They are uniquely yours, and no one else has the right to tell you they're too big, too small, or too unrealistic. Sacrificing your dreams to fit into someone else's box is like caging a bird that was meant to fly. You were not put on this earth to be a carbon copy of someone else's expectations. Your authenticity, your quirks, your strengths, your imperfections is your power. Never water yourself down to be more palatable for someone else. Your joy. Let me leave you with this. When you protect these 6 things, you create a life rooted in courage, self-respect, and love. And when you live this way, something incredible happens. You inspire others to do the same. You teach them that they don't have to sacrifice their boundaries, values, or joy to earn love or approval. You become a beacon of authenticity in a world that often tells us to be something we're not. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. Honor them. Let's talk about boundaries. For many of us, boundaries feel like an act of defiance. We're taught from a young age to be agreeable to say yes, even when every fiber of our being screams no, but boundaries are not about rejecting people, they're about protecting ourselves. They are the invisible lines that tell others, this is where I end and you begin. When you sacrifice your boundaries, you end up overextending yourself, carrying responsibilities that aren't yours, and pouring from an empty cup. You feel drained, resentful, and disconnected from your own needs. Boundaries are not selfish, they are essential. They allow you to show up authentically in relationships without losing yourself in the process. Think about this every time you set a boundary. You're telling yourself, I matter, and when you honor your boundaries, the people who truly care about you will respect them too. Your values are your anchor in rough seas, don't let them go. Your values are the compass that guides your decisions, your relationships, and your actions. They're the things you hold dear, even when no one is watching. But sometimes, in the name of love or belonging, we find ourselves compromising them. Maybe it's staying silent when we should speak up. Maybe it's going along with something that doesn't feel right. The problem is when we sacrifice our values, we betray ourselves. It might feel easier in the moment, but over time, it creates an internal dissonance, a quiet tug of regret that grows louder with each compromise. Your values are non-negotiable. They are what ground you when the world feels chaotic. They remind you of who you are when everything else feels uncertain. Hold on to them tightly, because they're the foundation of a life lived with integrity. Your worth isn't determined by others. It's intrinsic. Let me say this loud and clear, your worth is not up for debate. It's not defined by how much you do for others, how much you do for others, how much you achieve, or how many people like you. It's something you were born with, and no one can take it away from you. When you know your worth, you stop seeking validation from places that were never meant to give it. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that can't hold you. And most importantly, you start making decisions from a place of self-respect rather than fear of rejection. When you sacrifice your dreams to please others, you don't just give up a goal, you give up a part of yourself. Dreams are what keep us moving forward. They give our lives purpose and direction. The world is full of people who will tell you to be realistic, to aim lower, to play it safe. But remember, their limitations don't have to be yours. You are the only one who can bring your dreams to life. Protect them fiercely because they are uniquely yours. Authenticity isn't optional, it's essential. Authenticity is the most courageous act you can choose in a world that constantly asks you to conform. It's about standing in your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or unpopular. It's about owning your story, the beautiful, messy, imperfect story that makes you uniquely you. But here's the thing, authenticity is not easy. From a young age, we are conditioned to fit in, to please others, to avoid rocking the boat. We learn to mask parts of ourselves that might be judged or rejected. Over time, this can lead to a profound disconnection from others, yes, but more importantly, from ourselves. Being authentic requires vulnerability. It means being seen fully without filters or facades. And that can feel terrifying because it opens the door to criticism, rejection, or misunderstanding. But consider the alternative: living a life that isn't truly yours. Pretending to be someone you're not may protect you from short-term discomfort, but it guarantees long-term dissatisfaction. When you sacrifice your authenticity for acceptance, you pay a steep price. You trade your joy, your peace, and your sense of self. You may win approval, but it will feel hollow because deep down you'll know that the person they approve of isn't the real you. Authenticity doesn't mean oversharing or putting every aspect of yourself on display. It means showing up as you are without the need to edit, shrink, or apologize for your existence. It's about aligning your words, actions, and choices with your inner truth. Authenticity also invites connection. When you show up as your true self, you give others permission to do the same. You create relationships that are built on mutual respect and understanding rather than pretense or performance. These are the relationships that sustain us, that fill our lives with meaning and love. Choosing authenticity is a daily practice. It requires self-awareness, courage, and a willingness to risk discomfort for the sake of living a life that's true to you. And while it's not always easy, it's always worth it. Because the freedom and fulfillment that come from being unapologetically yourself are priceless. Happiness isn't selfish, it's your right. Let's talk about joy. So many of us have been taught to see happiness as a luxury, something to pursue only after we've checked all the boxes: career, family, responsibilities, and obligations. Or worse, we've been conditioned to feel guilty about our joy, as if it's selfish to prioritize our own well-being. But here's the truth: happiness isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's the fuel that keeps us going, the light that guides us through life's challenges. When you sacrifice your happiness for others, you don't just dim your own light, you also limit your ability to show up fully for the people you care about. Think about it when you're running on empty. How much do you really have to give? When you're exhausted, resentful, or unfulfilled, how can you be the best parent, partner, friend, or colleague? Joy is not a distraction from your responsibilities, it's what makes you better at fulfilling them. Happiness looks different for everyone. For some, it's found in quiet moments of solitude. For others, it's in connection, creativity, or adventure. Whatever it looks like for you, it's essential to honor it, to make space for it, to protect it fiercely. And here's the thing about joy: it's contagious. When you allow yourself to embrace happiness, you inspire others to do the same. You become a source of light and positivity, a reminder that it's okay to choose joy even in the midst of uncertainty. Of course, happiness doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending that life is always perfect. It's not about chasing fleeting pleasures or avoiding discomfort. True happiness comes from living in alignment with your values, nurturing meaningful relationships, and finding purpose in your daily life. It's about creating a foundation of gratitude and resilience that allows you to weather life's storms without losing sight of what matters most. Don't let anyone convince you that your happiness is secondary. It's not a prize to be earned or a privilege granted by others. It's your birthright. And when you claim it, you not only transform your own life, but also the lives of everyone around you. This living unapologetically inspires others to do the same. When you live unapologetically, you send a powerful message to the world. It's okay to be exactly who you are. You become a living example of what it means to embrace your truth, your dreams, and your individuality without fear or shame. And in doing so, you give others permission to do the same. This is one of the most profound gifts you can offer. Think about the people who have inspired you the most. Chances are they weren't perfect. They weren't trying to fit into anyone's mold or live up to anyone else's expectations. They were authentic, courageous, and unapologetically themselves. Living unapologetically doesn't mean being reckless or inconsiderate. It doesn't mean ignoring feedback or refusing to grow. It means showing up fully with all your flaws and strengths and refusing to compromise your core self to make others comfortable. When you live this way, you create ripples. You challenge the status quo. You inspire others to question the narratives that tell them they need to be smaller, quieter, or different to be accepted. You become a beacon of possibility, a reminder that there's another way to live, a way that's free, fulfilling, and deeply authentic. Of course, living unapologetically isn't always easy. It requires courage to face criticism, rejection, or misunderstanding. It requires resilience to keep going when others don't understand or support your choices. But the rewards are immeasurable. When you live unapologetically, you attract the right people, those who celebrate your authenticity rather than trying to change it. You create a life that feels aligned with your values and dreams. And most importantly, you find a sense of peace and fulfillment that comes from knowing you are living in integrity with yourself. Living unapologetically is not just about what you gain, it's about what you give. It's about being a source of inspiration and empowerment for others. It's about creating a world where authenticity is celebrated, not suppressed. And it starts with you. So let go of the need for approval, release the fear of judgment, and step into the fullness of who you are. Because when you do, you don't just transform your own life, you change the lives of everyone who has the privilege of knowing you.
Embracing a life you'll never regret.
As we come to the end of this exploration, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've taken together. We've uncovered the 6 fundamental aspects of life that you should never sacrifice for anyone: your boundaries, your values, your self-worth, your dreams, your authenticity, and your joy. These are not just concepts, they are the building blocks of a life lived fully, bravely, and unapologetically. But understanding these principles is only the beginning. Living them requires courage, consistency, and a deep commitment to yourself. So let's tie it all together and explore how you can embody these truths in your everyday life. The courage to stand firm in your boundaries. Boundaries are often misunderstood. People think they're about keeping others out, but in reality, they're about inviting the right people in. They're about creating a safe space for yourself so you can thrive. The world will constantly test your boundaries. Friends, family, coworkers, even strangers, they may push, pull, or challenge your limits. And sometimes the hardest person to enforce boundaries with is yourself. It's tempting to overextend, to say yes when you mean no, to keep the peace at the expense of your own well-being. But when you honor your boundaries, you teach others how to treat you, you show them what you're willing to accept and what you're not, and most importantly, you show yourself that your needs matter. Living with firm boundaries isn't selfish, it's essential. It allows you to preserve your energy for the things and people that truly matter. It's a form of self-respect that creates space for growth, connection, and authenticity. Staying rooted in your values. Your values are the foundation of your identity. They're what guide you in times of uncertainty, what keep you grounded when life feels chaotic. But holding onto your values isn't always easy, especially when they're challenged by others. There will be moments when you're tempted to compromise, to stay silent when you should speak up, to follow the crowd when your heart tells you to take a different path. In those moments, remember this: every time you compromise your values, you chip away at your sense of self. Living in alignment with your values doesn't mean you'll always get it right. You're human and you'll make mistakes. But what matters is your willingness to come back to your truth, to stand firm in what you believe, even when it's uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, your values are what will guide you to a life of meaning and integrity. Recognizing your inherent worth. Your self-worth is not something you earn, it's something you already have. Yet, so many of us tie our worth to external factors, our achievements, our relationships, our appearance. We look for validation in others, hoping they'll give us permission to feel enough. But here's the truth: no one else can define your worth. It's not dependent on how much you do, how perfect you are, or how many people approve of you. It's intrinsic, unchanging, and independent of anyone else's opinion. When you start to see your worth as inherent, everything changes. You stop settling for less than you deserve. You stop seeking validation from people who don't value you, and you start showing up in the world with confidence and self-respect. Living with a deep sense of self-worth doesn't mean you won't face moments of doubt. But it does mean you'll have the tools to remind yourself of the truth that you are enough, just as you are. Protecting your dreams. Dreams are fragile things. They begin as whispers, as tiny sparks of possibility. And if we're not careful, they can be extinguished by doubt, fear, or the opinions of others. But your dreams are not random, they are the seeds of your future. They are the roadmap to a life that feels fulfilling and aligned. When you sacrifice your dreams to fit into someone else's expectations, you lose more than just a goal, you lose a piece of yourself. Protecting your dreams requires courage. It means trusting in your vision, even when others can't see it. It means taking risks, facing setbacks, and continuing to move forward. And most importantly, it means giving yourself permission to dream in the first place. No dream is too big or too small. Whether it's starting a new career, creating art, building a family, or simply living a life of peace and joy, your dreams matter. They are a reflection of your heart's deepest desires, and they deserve to be nurtured. Living authentically in a world that asks you to conform. Authenticity is one of the bravest choices you can make. It means showing up as your true self without masks or pretense. It means embracing your quirks, your imperfections, and your unique perspective. But authenticity comes with risks. When you live authentically, you open yourself up to judgment, rejection, or misunderstanding. Not everyone will understand your choices or accept your truth. And that's okay. Because living authentically isn't about pleasing others, it's about being true to yourself. It's about aligning your words, actions, and values with who you really are. And when you do that, something incredible happens. You attract the right people and opportunities into your life. Authenticity is a daily practice. It's a choice you make in every interaction, every decision, every moment. And while it's not always easy, it's always worth it. Because the freedom that comes from living authentically is unlike anything else. Embracing joy is a necessity, not a luxury. Joy is not an indulgence, it's a necessity. It's the fuel that sustains us, the light that guides us through life's challenges. Yet so many of us treat happiness as an afterthought, something to pursue only after we've fulfilled all our responsibilities. But here's the thing, joy doesn't have to wait. It doesn't have to be earned or justified. It's not selfish to prioritize your happiness, it's essential. Because when you're happy, you're better equipped to handle life's challenges. You're more present, more connected, and more resilient. Happiness looks different for everyone. For some, it's found in quiet moments of solitude. For others, it's in connection, creativity, or adventure. Whatever it looks like for you, honor it, make space for it. Protect it fiercely. Joy is not about ignoring life's difficulties or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about finding moments of light and gratitude, even in the midst of struggle. It's about creating a life that feels meaningful and aligned no matter what challenges come your way. Inspiring others by living unapologetically. When you live unapologetically, you become a beacon of possibility for others. You show them that it's okay to be exactly who they are, to dream big, to choose happiness, and to live authentically. This kind of inspiration doesn't come from perfection, it comes from vulnerability. It comes from being willing to show up fully, flaws and all. It comes from choosing to live a life that's true to you, even when it's difficult. Living unapologetically isn't about rejecting feedback or refusing to grow. It's about embracing your truth while staying open to learning and evolving. It's about finding a balance between confidence and humility, between self-assurance and empathy. When you live this way, you create ripples. You inspire others to question the narratives that hold them back, to step into their own authenticity, and to live lives that feel meaningful and fulfilling. Bringing it all together. So what does it mean to live a life where you never sacrifice these 6 things? It means creating a foundation of self-respect, integrity, and joy. It means honoring your boundaries, staying true to your values, and recognizing your inherent worth. It means protecting your dreams, living authentically, and embracing happiness as your birthright. This kind of life doesn't happen by accident. It requires intention, courage, and a deep commitment to yourself. It requires letting go of the need for approval, releasing the fear of judgment, and stepping into the fullness of who you are. And while the journey won't always be easy, it will always be worth it. Because when you live in alignment with these principles, you create a life that's not only fulfilling, but also deeply inspiring to others. You don't have to sacrifice your boundaries, values, worth, dreams, authenticity, or joy to earn love, success, or belonging. You are enough just as you are. And when you embrace that truth, you unlock the freedom to live a life that's truly yours. So go out into the world and live unapologetically. Dream boldly. Protect your joy. And remember, the greatest gift you can give yourself and the world is the courage to be exactly who you are.